stage. We want to okay. So let's jump in. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat as we go along, but there's a lot of content to cover here, so I want to make sure that we give enough time for questions. Can you all hear me? Vitamin, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So, hi, I'm Les. I want to show you how you're going to define your strategy with frameworks. There's a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. So, in the planning community, we're familiar with the concept of plans, right? What's the difference between a strategy and a plan? A plan is something that you have control over. It's you plotting out the steps that you're going to take based off of the actions that you can, right? So the difference between a plan and a strategy is a strategy will consider what you can't control, and it asks you how your business wants to show up. It's the part that is forward thinking, and the part that is really about how the customer decides to choose you based on the constraints that happen in their life. So when things don't go to plan, you and your team are likely to make one of the following decisions. You're going to fight, you're going to fly, you're going to freeze, you're going to fawn, or you're going to flop, or you're going to face it, right? So when we decide in our organizations or in our business to do anything other than face it, we're deciding to react rather than to figure out our response. And how does that show up? And how do we decide how we want to face what we're dealing with, right? So you decide that by deciding that ahead of time. And you can use frameworks to help you figure out what those decisions need to be for your business. Frameworks help you discover what you're missing. They help you develop a language for exchanging ideas and communicating with other people about what you are going to do and how you're going to learn so that you can make better decisions in the future. And they also help you streamline and focus your effort and processes. They break down initiatives into their components, right? So here's a framework that's really helped throughout the career. It's one of the classic ones. It's the Marketing 5C framework. It helps you to figure out what constraints from the marketplace are on your business. So when you think about the purchasing decision, the 5 C's are your company. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Your customers, what are their needs and preferences? Who are your competitors? What are the current and potential competition that comes up, right? Then you think about your collaborators. Who is working with you? So it could be a partnership like a supplier, a distributor, a marketplace. And then the climate, the context, right? So this type of framework thinking is going to make it super easy for you to identify where things could be coming up for your business. And from that, you and your team can use that energy to figure out, okay, what are we going to do when these things come up? But why don't we have this thinking time? Why don't we do this level of strategic thinking? Because chances are the inputs for your business are hard to find, right? Your references, your projects, your meeting notes, your to-dos are likely to cross several apps. And because of that, it's difficult for you to connect your ideas to each other so that you can build a holistic understanding of what's going on in your business and how people are making your business choices, and how people are reacting as day to day, right? So when you have a disconnected workspace and everything is so disparate, your momentum is diffused. When we think about task switching, when we think about context, when we're learning different things and growing our knowledge of the marketplace, those items are likely to be in different drives on your phone, old computers, notebooks and post-its, different tools and apps. And because they're all over the place, it's hard to see the big picture. If you keep everything on the same app, you'll be able to relate things, grow on ideas, and develop a strategy that will allow other people as well as yourself to figure out what we're going to do so that our face or react or response time is quick. We can make decisions that we want to make that are best for our customers and best for our business. And we can observe patterns to think forward about what's coming to affect the buying decisions, right? So surveys reveal what's taking up our time and our energy and attention. Why aren't we thinking strategically when we're doing our work? We're getting bogged down by non-task related distractions. Obviously, procrastination, it happens to us all, right? Waiting for status updates, context switching, as I mentioned before, searching for things in the wrong places and repeating things over and over again across different platforms and tools, right? So putting something in the notebook that we then have to put in Slack, that we then have to text, and all the above, reinforcing over and over that you're chasing people to give them the updates rather than kind of having that synergy around the framework, around the strategy that we're using to go to market. So here's another super easy framework that has done so much for me personally for figuring out where to put stuff so that they can be in the right place for when I'm looking for them, right? And when I want to bring ideas together. I'm going to show you a demonstration in Notion about what this looks like in practice, but framing at the highest level, right? Para, was developed by Tiago Forte, and he broke down his knowledge base, the idea of a second brain, which we can talk about in another Brunch and Learn, but your encyclopedia, your repository, your company's work and stuff can be broken down into the projects, areas, resources and archives, and your tasks and your orders. If you had one database to put in all of these different inputs, you'd be able to easily navigate and find what you're looking for within these buckets so that you can share with your team as well as keep yourself on track when you are making your plans and developing your strategies. So what does that look like, right? Let's take one more click before we look at the Para system in a place like Notion, in a connected workspace like Notion. So Para, because of this system, I can find anything work-related in less than a minute. Think about how often you spend 40 minutes looking for an email, looking for a brainstorming sheet, a note that you've made before. Because of this framework, everything in my life can be found in less than a minute. And the way that Para works is that you have your area, right? That is the highest part of the funnel. It's what everything is going to fall underneath. So an area in my life right now is Recall It All, my business. Projects I'm working on. This is a project, right? When we think about developing a pitch deck or developing a series, there are projects that's going to be able to really whittle down the efforts that you're putting. We have to be strategic about those projects, right? Because you only have so much time. Right. Bliss. Every day searching between apps and notebooks, and if not, it's all stuck in your head, right? You're relying on your mind to put those things together when you can come up with a framework for plotting it out and being able to move those things around. And so your projects are comprised of to-dos and orders. Resources connect to different projects and areas, right? So an area in your life could be home. Homes have to-dos like, changing out your filters and your vents. Any orders you might have, the orders for the filters and the vents. If you're updating your bathroom, that project is a part of the home area, and it has to-dos and orders that are related to that is focused on one project. And the resources, that could be your contract for the contractor, that could be your warranties, would then be connected to that area or project that you would be able to find what you're looking for related to that. So what does this mean in practice? I'm going to share my Notion and show you the magic of a Para dashboard. So let me know when you can see Notion. Are you seeing Notion yet? Can somebody give me a signal in the chat? Okay, perfect. All right. So everything in Notion is based off of a page. This is a page that I've created for my clients as a template for managing their work inputs. So we can build out something that navigates differently, but it just gives us a baseline for where to start. So these are the different areas in your business. You have the projects in your business, and you can see all the to-dos, resources, contacts that are probably client contacts, and then vendor contacts that are working on this project with you. This gives you a dashboard of all of the related aspects of this project for you in one place, right? When we look at finances incorporate invoices that you've made, orders that you've done, and any to-dos related to finances. You're starting to see the framework come to life, hopefully. The idea being is that you're grouping different efforts, different motions within your business as you're working on it. For example, marketing. Marketing is comprised of what? Content that you're probably going to have to do, and advertising, spend that you're putting towards those efforts in the platform you're putting it on. Each Notion page also within an area has the to-dos, and you can then decide, okay, based off of the insights that I'm getting from the spend These all come with dashboards on the side that do some calculations for you to figure out, okay, the ROI, the number of orders, the amount of content you've posted, right? You can then focus on each initiative, each motion in your organization in one central hub. So all your contacts are not sitting on your phone hoping that you'll somehow find a perfect naming convention to search for the contact you're looking for. How many people are like me that have tons of contacts in their phone that they no longer remember what they are a referral for, right? And then your resources. These are the notes that you're making. These can be notes for the different projects, right? They're associated with different projects. They are also the policies that you're making for your business. And again, because it's an area, it has to-dos related to it. So you're breaking things out and you're relating them to different aspects of your business management. Bliss, what is your question? I see your hand raised. And thank you for participating. Can you type out your question? Okay, yes, definitely. And me too, right? Like there's a reason why I decided to incorporate Notion, because I had so many resources that were being collected over the course of my career, contacts that I've made in networking, files that I've downloaded that I want to reference later, but I don't have a place to put that's easy for me to find it. I'm essentially Googling again from scratch and looking for the purple links when I'm trying to find things that help me build my ideas and my strategy. Because of Notion, we can save items. Literally, because of Notion, you can create content directly on the page. You can pull items from the web and Notion will scrape the page and pull it up there. And because of Notion's global search, you can say, hey, let me type one word and easily find what you're looking for if you don't want to navigate through the whole site. Anything that's on Notion can be found based off of the text that's on it, the structure of where it's saved. And so you'll be able to keep your logo, your branding assets super easy to find, any signatures, the policies that you're working on, the to-dos. And you can also share any of these items directly to the web. So your website, you can make websites and content that you can share with your collaborators, be it your clients or your team members, and give them the context that they need to take the actions that you want so that they can make make informed decisions for you and support you in your business growth. Notion, to level up single moms, very well stated point, right? Notion seems to be a less technical, user-friendly Excel sheet. And in a lot of ways it is, right? All of the items that you're working on are a combination of pages and databases. So this page is comprised of links. These are links to items that exist in databases. When you look at the back end, you have your resources, you have your to-dos. The to-dos are connected to areas. Here are the areas of your business. Here are the client information. So these are the trackers you probably would have to buy in separate batches and have all over your computers, have old ones that are on old laptops and phones and all the above. And then struggle with finding, right? You are just adding to each of these and then dynamically choosing a layout that's going to show the information that you want. So if we are thinking about the vendors, right? What projects are they working on? You connect them to a project, you have their contact information, you have their focus area. That could be on a spreadsheet, but because we're using Notion and it automatically can redesign the information in a different way, we can make a contact card directly for that business that we are linking to the contact page. Does that make sense? And I want to pause here for any questions. No? Okay. So, finally, back to how you're going to communicate, right? Find a framework that makes it easy for you guys to have you and your collaborators and your clients, a structure for the conversation so that as you're building knowledge, as you're learning, as you're doing your thing, as you're working on the project together, you have a shared language for how things are organized in your business and where to find things as you move on in your projects. I recommend Para, and I recommend the 5C framework for research so that you can easily figure out where things are kind of related to your strategy. And then visualize and plot it out in a way that makes it easy for other people to navigate the conversations that you're having and the work that needs to be done. Notion allows you to use the top tools for planning without having to redo work. So your to-dos are a database that looks like this off the top, but we can put them in a board view to use kind of like a Trello to move things through stages. We can also put those things that have a date property into a calendar view that we can open alongside our Google Calendar and Notion Calendar and plan our days out based off of time. We also have checkboxes that allow us to put things in order of urgency and importance. So anything that is urgent and important using the Eisenhower matrix, which we can talk about in depth if you're not familiar, but the idea is that you sort your inputs based off of their urgency and their importance, and other frameworks. It's been super helpful. And move those things around as blocks in your planning so that you can plan your day out. You have easily communicated to everybody what is urgent and important, where things are in progress, and when you're going to do them in different views, all coming from that original, what this might look like is an Excel spreadsheet with no code. This is directly out of the box. So this is what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this Brunch and Learn. I hope it's helpful. This template is actually free. So it's available through the Notion Marketplace. I'll add a link in the description to this so that you can test out this framework for planning your day and planning your business and migrate your items over. I am a workspace designer, and so what I do is that I help you to come up with a framework or implement the framework that's going to work for your business and centralize it all in one system so that you can stop looking for things all over the place and you can build on your ideas and develop your strategies and communicate those strategies in an intuitive way based off of Notion's building block system. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.